Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for this hearing, and I thank the witnesses for coming. I am one of the members that voted no on both bills before Congress. I would do so again. I feel that the Congress passed something that would not be effective but would be fast. And I believe that criminal prosecutions need to proceed. The FBI is underfunded to do that, to show that in the decade of the 90s and in this decade, there was willful intent by very powerful financial institutions in this country to create money where there was no underlying asset, and people knew exactly what they were doing. I would like to place on the record, and I will read these very quickly, the list of the primary government securities dealers that the Federal Reserve maintains in New York. As of October 1st, 2008, Bank of America, which just bought Countrywide, BNP Paribas Securities Corporation, Barclays Capital, Cantor Fitzgerald, Citigroup, another one of the troubled institutions, Credit Suisse Securities, Daewoo Securities, Deutsche Bank Securities, Dresdner, Kleinwort Securities, Goldman Sachs, another company that just came under the Bank Holding Company Act, for which they paid nothing for the FDIC insurance that they are now eligible to use, HSBC Securities, JP Morgan Securities, Merrill Lynch Securities, Mizuho Securities, Morgan Stanley, another company that just came under the umbrella of the FDIC, and UBS Securities, LLC. The Congress gave the administration the green light, and now they've behaved like Wrong Way Corrigan. Rather than bringing to task some discipline inside this market, we've essentially allowed the administration to reward the irresponsible financial institutions. Why haven't the people in the administration used the full powers of the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation to resolve this situation as we have in the past, including the use of the net worth certificate program? I disagree with Dr. Bailey. I don't think that we should be taking taxpayer money and placing in these institutions. I think we should be using the net worth certificate program and the tried and true mechanisms of market discipline to work out bank by bank what needs to be done to make the consumer as whole as we can make them. We can do the mortgage workouts there as well. We don't have to do it in this backward way. In fact, back in August, when the Congress passed that housing legislation, it was supposed to give some help to do workouts at the local level so we wouldn't exacerbate the foreclosure situation. We are exacerbating it in places like Ohio. Foreclosures are getting worse, not better. And there is nothing happening now immediately to not make it worse and to precipitate a much deeper and longer recession. So if anyone from the administration is listening, I hope they will look to the FDIC to use its full powers, to look to the net worth certificate program, to look to the fair value accounting, and to using the true value of the asset rather than an arbitrary indexed value through SEC accounting standards. Use the market discipline that we need to use rather than taking more money from the taxpayers. The question I really have of you is, and frankly I'm somewhat in shock in what the chairman of the Federal Reserve said to me. There was no relationship between the Countrywide that sits on the Federal Reserve's Board of Primary Security Dealers up in New York and Countrywide institution, which made most of the loans, subprime loans, that got us into all this trouble to begin with. And I want to place some information about Countrywide on the record here today. I'd like to ask you, which businesses benefit from debt? As America becomes deeper and deeper in debt, which businesses broker in that debt and earn money off the debt, the growing debt of the American people?
You are opposed to the rescue package. I respectfully disagree. I think when the ship hits the iceberg, you can go back and say, as they've apparently done, that there were defective rivets and defective steel, but
the ship is headed in the wrong direction, Doctor. The ship is headed in the wrong direction now. They've injected some capital into some of the biggest institutions in this country, but it hasn't stopped the hemorrhage. What they've done was one way of going about this problem. A better way would have been to use the FDIC's full emergency powers. Much better way to go about this.
Well, Sheila Bair and the FDIC, I think, are doing an outstanding job now of trying to do.
They could do better. They could do better. They could use their full
probably
powers.
True, but I think they are doing the right thing at this point.
But who benefits from debt?
The U.S. Treasury debt?
The American people's debt.
The American people's debt?
As brokered through the Treasury. Who benefits from debt? Who's making money off the American people's debt?
Well, we have spent more than we've received in revenue, and many Americans that have received the benefits of that spending, whether it's Medicare spending or Social Security spending, and Social Security has actually been solvent. I shouldn't put them on the table, but other kind of spending that we haven't paid for. So in some sense, we, the American people, are having to pay the passing on the bill, but we've actually benefited in the short term. Other institutions use U.S. debt. I don't think anybody is making excessive returns on holding government
Who makes
debt.
money off the U.S. debt, sir? This is not a complicated question.
Financial
Aren't they the very
hold it.
institutions that are benefiting from the capital infusions by the American taxpayers?
Yes, they earn an interest return on holding that money. Yes.
Yes, and what is their interest return, would you estimate? Anyone on the panel? How much money do they make in a year? How much money will...
Well, the total interest on the debt, I don't have that number at my fingertips, but it's certainly very large.
It's billions of dollars.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. And I wonder if any of your organizations could provide for the record which institutions are benefiting from the growing debt of the American people. Do any of you have that?
I'd be happy to supply some information to you on that, Congresswoman.
I thank you. We will make it a part of the record, Dr. Ball, or Dr. Beach. Thank you.
Ms. Moore.